Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the last episode of the second series of the AGRU Trends series. This is your host, Francisco Pizarro, General Manager for AGRU Brazil and Chile. And with Edgardo Conejo, COO of AGRU America, we are joined by two amazing guests that we are going to introduce you very soon. As you know, AGRU Trends is a video podcast series exploring the role of engineering plastics in creating infrastructure for a sustainable future. And we are really thrilled to offer AgriTrends to bring our knowledge to a wider audience. The first series of the AgriTrends series was about the XXL division, the big diameter pipes. And in this second series, we have been exploring the role of engineering plastics in our concrete-driven world. These class of products, often called concrete protected liners, are often utilized in unseen places, providing tremendous value to enhance concrete properties with the CPL, the concrete protected liners. Engineers can combine the strength of concrete with the corrosion and chemical resistance of engineered plastic to create ultra-durable sewer and wastewater structures. As I was saying in introduction, we have joined by two amazing guests, Ernie Herns, the business unit manager for CPL and Tunnel Product Group, and Wayne Turner, consultant and agro certified welding training. Being said that, I would like to give the word to Edgardo in order to speak about the concrete protection in action, more specifically about a couple of projects that will definitely call your attention. Edgardo, good to see you.
Hi, Francisco. Hi, Ernie. Good to see you, Wayne. It's always good to talk about this series. We have been we started a couple of months ago with explaining what is the concrete protective liner. We invited a different host, like our colleagues in Agro Austria, and it's always very important to keep the this mission of letting customers, engineers, and end customers learn a little bit more about this very nice solution. In order to accomplish that, why not talking with the best in the industry? One of them, of course, is Mr. Wayne Turner. Ernie is always also in the same line with all this knowledge. In this case, I would like to pass to Wayne so that he explains a little bit of his background, what who he is, what he does, what he has been doing in the industry, and then we're gonna go into the series a little bit quick. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Edgardo. Good morning, guys. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Just a little background. I spent 26 years in the precast concrete manufacturing business. And then in the mid 90s, we started looking for solutions to protect our product when they were in an at risk environment. And that's where we met AGRUs. So we started working with AGRU in 1995, marketing it in the eastern seaboard of the US, and put our first lift station in October. And from that time on, we've delved into the precast up and down the East Coast. We've got in cast in place opportunities and rehab opportunities. So it's been a pleasure working with AGRU over the years. And now I help teach and encourage and train up and coming newcomers into the industry.
Excellent, excellent. So if we go in and start with the subject, what is the role of a fabricator, you think, on all these product and the properties that you can bring when you use it correctly?
Okay, great question. So, as a fabricator, when we started out, we were also a precaster. So, we had a great knowledge of the concrete precast industry, and we would make the tubes, as you see in this picture here, and we have to deal with various pipe penetrations. So, here's two examples of penetrations. The top of any lift station has a lid on it. This is the top slab liner where the large aluminum access hatch would be located. And the three tubes to the right are the discharge pipes. When we have a shallow manhole, or in other areas we have flat top manholes, this would be the liner to line the bottom of the precast top slab and the manway access into the manhole. And these are all fabricated in a shop. shipped out to a precast customer and cast in their products. We would go about doing that.
That's great. Considering that the installation has a critical role, but Edgar already introduced a little bit the role of the fabricator, and I want to go deep on that, Wayne. How can the fabricator help implement concrete protection? What's the role in this case, AGRU,
Yeah,
in
one of the
this
things the fabricators
line?
can do is to, obviously work with the precast company, get a feel for their shop drawings and understanding how we're going to seal every possible penetration. If it's precast, in the case of this top slab here, how we're going to align the openings in accordance with AGRU standards to get a watertight seal. Fit and cut the forms in a shop so that when the precaster receives them or the contractor receives them, they fit the formwork properly is a big thing that we do as a fabricator.
Yeah. I would also add that anytime we can put a lot of the welding, do it in advance and do it in a shop rather than out in the field, you're most likely going to end up with a better end product. We can and fabricators allow us to use highly trained installers in a shop environment rather than maybe less trained people in the field. So we get the best end product through fabrication.
So let me see here. For, let's say, for a new customer or someone that is looking at this for the first time. I love the picture that was there that before this one, but let's keep it in here. So what is this? Why you have a yellow stuff, a blue stuff over there, and some holes? This seems to me something for something kind of complicated that is being resolved by this product. Can you walk us a little bit more in detail of this, Wayne?
Absolutely. The lots going on in this picture here. One, the precaster is able to add the aluminum box below the hatch doors. We call that the skirt. And then the precaster will seal the liner around that skirt opening on the large triple door. On the back left corner, we have a pipe coming up through that with a specified diameter. That is AGRU's product. We supported that with styrofoam, and that's pre-welded, as Ernie talked about, having that factory weld done beforehand. And then the other three openings required a PVC diameter opening, so we were able to put a collar around the bottom of that PVC sleeve and seal that with a mechanical and an adhesive attachment, and then those sleeves were welded. The liner fits the full opening of the top slab all the way out to the edges of the formwork, and that provides an extended protection all the way to the very edges of that top slab when it goes in service.
So then you're gonna pour the concrete, in between the blue section, and then
Mhm.
everything's gonna get covered with concrete, and will be protecting the bottom side. Is that correct?
Correct. What you don't see in this picture yet, the reinforcement will be placed on top of the liner, and then the concrete will be poured up to the top of the hatch and lifting devices placed in that. When that is shipped to the field and installed, the ceiling, when you're down in the tank looking up, will be completely yellow with the AGRU, and that will be your protection for the inside of this vault.
So that tells me how many different applications. If you can do this, it's very complex, meaning you have a lot of geometries, you have different products, and the concrete protective line is putting everything together so that you have a better solution at the end of the day. Is that a fair statement, you think?
Oh, absolutely. And we can, a lot of times too, you'll see electrical connections coming in this to bring power to pumps. All those things with the AGRU, it's very easily to attach these different types of pipes and transition into the tank to provide the different services you need in the tank to make it work properly.
Excellent. Thanks for
That's
that.
perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna go deeper a little bit in the installation, and I want to bring also Ernie into the talk. Um, what are the typical ways concrete protection is installed when learning?
Yeah,
You can
you know, Wayne
go
mentioned
deeper on it.
earlier that we concrete protection is very often used in precast structures and precast pipes, precast manholes, but can also be used in cast-in-place applications. And when I say cast-in-place applications, there's a variety of formworks that can be used, and there's you know, AGRU's been used in almost every one of them. So we recently did a project that had a slip or sliding formwork that moved upwards as the concrete was poured. The concrete was poured on these structures 24 hours, you know, 7 days a week for about 7 or 8 days for each structure. And the formwork moved up, and the AGRU, we were able to place the AGRU concrete protective liner as the formwork was moving in advance. And the project worked out wonderfully. So, and in addition to cast in place applications, we can also do rehabilitation of structures. This is an example of a cast in place application here, but we've got some other projects where we've done cast in place rehab as well as rehabilitation of precast structures as well.
Yeah, this is a great example of fabrication at a shop and then taking the liner to a job site. These panels were pre-cut to the right height and the right width, and the contractor laid the formwork on the ground and created gangs, and the fabricator was able to show up and in 2 hours installed all that liner on all 4 walls and attach it, and then they flew that into the pit to be ready for the rebar. And you can see the conduits there already attached for the electrician. And that just makes a really nice project when that's poured and stripped out.
Any
Again,
relevant considerations, Wayne, early about it for this type? Nevertheless, you guys spoke straight
Yeah,
about the
let's
installation of the
take a look
units,
at this.
but
One of the considerations that you would talk to the contractor about is we want to minimize the number of penetrations through the liner with our wall ties or snap ties. And this contractor accommodated that nicely by using a larger diameter ties. Those little dots you see in the liner, those are openings that we have to seal. But he minimized the number of those by using and having a conversation with the fabricator so that we pick the right forming system to perform as it's intended, and yet minimize the number of penetrations we have to seal inside that tank once it's poured.
what is the black in the middle, Wayne?
That is one of AGRU's products called a tear-off profile. And when that product is used to couple 2 sheets together at a butt joint, it does several things. It holds alignment. It allows us a point of attachment to the form. It keeps the cream out of the joint when it's poured. And then the black strip is removed after the formwork's taken out. The joint's prepped and welded, and then what's left behind in the concrete is the backside of that profile is an electroconductive strip that provides us a conductor for the spark test to test the weld. So that's a great product that we use often in tanks that are cast in place.
Awesome.
and one of the things maybe that makes the difference of this product, Wayne and Ernie, especially in areas where we need to weld joints, basically, is in order to avoid that, is that this is a product that can be thermoformed. We can easily, with the application of heat and the correct application, we can form different type of figures according to the original situation of the project. Maybe you with your experience, you can go further on that.
Yes, certainly. And in addition, as you said, thermoforming is often the best way to create a corner. By bending the sheet, we're not trying to weld in a corner, particularly an outside corner, which is a very difficult and not a recommended weld. If we can bend that sheet around that outside corner, that's the best way to make that corner turn. So thermoforming allows us to wrap columns and structures and still maintain the integrity of the product without a lot of welds. And the less welds we can get by with, typically, the better the end product's going to be.
Right. I would certainly concur with that. We just recently helped a guy in Ohio at a nuclear power plant. They had some 5 mm boxes cast in place for vaults, and they were required to use the AGRU product in them. So we thermoformed corners that had 3-foot legs going each direction out of the corner, and the contractor was able to put those in, and the weld was done several feet away from the corner to the next piece. So it worked out fantastic.
What we have in this picture over there, that's an existing structure that you can create that geometry and protect whatever application will be with those structures there.
Yes, in this case here, we're using a couple of AGRU's products. It's hard to see it, but at the top edge of that liner sheet going around that circle is your tear-off profile. That allows that formwork to receive the next piece of liner as this form moves up. This is a slipping type application, and AGRU's products work very well around the world when contractors utilize slip form technology. So this is a great example of a round structure, and yet using profiles in that way as opposed to cast in place flat walls.
That's what I like about all these
and I think
pictures that you have in the sense of all the different geometries, all the different ways to apply the product into the finish application. It's very important that we showcase this because it's not just for one or the other. You can customize to the customer needs. You can move forward and give different creative solutions. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yes, Francisco.
absolutely.
and the big extension, one of the main assets of this product is that the different type of ways to produce or supply. I mean, we have rolls, big diameter for big dimensions, 2 by 50 meters, or in sheets 2 by 4. But for this big extension, actually, that's what I like to Wayne and Ernie talk about, because we have this installed solution in almost 100 countries all over the world for almost 40 years. And I think Wayne and Ernie would like to explore about 2 specific projects where this solution has made a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And to just this shot here shows too an example of, as this formwork has moved on up, we see the profile left behind where the certified AGRU welder can come along there and complete his project and seal that seam there, and then do the proper spark test and move the project to the next step. So that's a great example right there. A lot of times too, guys, when we form tanks of different things that are the liners cast in the roof of the tank, over the years, we've learned it's better to work on the back side of the liner, in this case, where you can weld the seams from up top, do your spark test, rather than having to work below a roof or a ceiling and hold the welding equipment up over your head all day. So we have seen some really interesting ways to marry to these steel sleeves and seal that off properly, and to perform as much welding in a much better controlled environment, during the application and installation of the liner before the rebar is placed and before the concrete is poured.
One thing, again, in these pictures over there, Wayne, you can see different geometries. You see that big diameter, small openings over there. How you accomplish that? How do you make that hole specifically where it needs to be so that then you put the liner in? Can you explain a little bit just from
Yeah, absolutely. These locations of these various cast-in sleeves are detailed out on the plan. So we work very closely with a contractor for him to place that. We use some equipment to mechanically remove the anchors where that piece goes. Our preference is to set the piece right down on the liner with the anchors removed, make our transition piece using AGRU's polyester fabric back material to epoxy that collar around that steel sleeve, and then we'll apply a donut around that and marry the collar to the liner. And then after the formwork is stripped on the bottom side, we would go up in and remove the AGRU that's blocking that opening with a mechanical router and clean that up. It looks very nice on the inside when it's finished. So whether it's round, square, rectangular, on an angle, we have ways in the field to attach these properly so that we get no sewer gas back in behind the sleeve to the concrete.
Okay.
That's amazing. Yes, maybe just giving the final thoughts about these projects, Wayne, Ernie, in order
Go ahead, Ernie.
to fill our timeline.
Sure. Yeah, this was a fantastic project because, well, I'll say an interesting project because there were so many different technologies and just the overall scale of the project itself. A very large project. This floor right here is sitting probably about 60 feet above the ground that we're working from. We're doing inspection and welding on some of the walls and inspection of the ceiling, which Wayne noted had been back welded previously. So just a impressive job. This was also the recent project that had the sliding or slip formwork. So very neat project from a scale standpoint and from a technology standpoint.
One thing here, for again, end users, engineers, other type of customers or people that is interested in this product. What you see right now in that picture, in my opinion, tells a lot of the story. So imagine you don't have the yellow over there, then you're just gonna have concrete, and the media that will be inside that tank or that application will corrode the concrete over time, will create some cracks, and things are gonna get just bad. So for that reason, you have this liner with different width and those V-shaped anchors that you're gonna be able to work them out with the techniques that Wayne and Ernie has been saying, and then you end up with this that's the end product. You're gonna have someone there just making sure everything is properly well, and everything will be yellow at the end, so when the product gets seen, it's fully protected for many years. What will be your comments there, Wayne, based on your experience?
Yeah, so what we've learned over the years of doing this is anytime we have standing sewer, which will be the case in this application here, this tank will be have 70 vertical feet of sewer water in it at all times. So above the water line is a horrific gaseous environment that the bacteria live in. And as they produce sulfuric acid, it's going to eat that concrete. So by going in and doing the steps and doing the testing, we can ensure that the CPL will, which is inert to the sewer gases, will protect this concrete for many, 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 many years to come, and protect the owner's investment, and in long run save the owner and the city a lot of money on rehab, future rehab and replacement.
Great. That's the
Yeah, I
point.
got it. And maybe some final thoughts. Mhm.
No, at the end, what Wayne just said, protect the customers or the investors' money. You know, it's very important in these type of products. This solution will do that.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the first two episodes of this series, explore the alternative solutions. What are at the end the costs that they have? This is definitely an investment in terms of service life that we are trying to, and all the portfolio of AGRU, it's focused on service life. So it has been a great show today. A great way to close the second series about our concrete protection liner. I would like to, of course, in the name of AGRU, thank Ernie, Wayne for your time and knowledge during these episodes and the previous ones. Edgardo, I don't know if you would like to mention some final words for this second series.
Yes, definitely. All the comments that Wayne and Ernie has been mentioning this last episode, it resemble a lot of years of experience, and we are here to support. So any feedback from the customers or anything else that we might want to touch in the future, please send those through the platform, and we will more than welcome to address them. I just want to thank you again, Wayne and Ernie, for your uh, presentation and comments. Very, very good. Thank you.
Yep, my pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks again. We look forward to see you very soon. Please follow us in our different platforms, especially in LinkedIn, where we always upload this series, as well as YouTube. Please subscribe to each one of them. And please stay tuned, because the third series of the AGRU Trends series is coming with very interesting topics. So I won't mention it in order you to stay tuned and find out. So thanks again, and see you very soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.